Hey everyone, and welcome back to How to Better English. This is your cozy place, your safe space, where we chat about real-life strategies for growing your English without the pressure. I'm Liam.
And I'm Emma. So good to be here with you all, and with you, Liam. You know, I was thinking about how to start today's episode, and I just had this image in my mind. You ever have one of those days where you feel like you're running on a treadmill that's just going too fast?
Oh, I know that feeling viscerally. Yes, that exact feeling.
Right? You've got your job, maybe you're managing a team or hitting deadlines, then you come home and there's dinner and maybe family stuff, and then you look at your English textbook or your app and it just sits there. It feels like another mountain to climb. So today, we're talking about how to actually balance a full-time job with studying English. No more I'm too tired. No more I don't have time. We're talking real, practical integration.
Exactly. And before we dive in, quick favor, if you're finding these conversations helpful, could you please hit that subscribe button? It really helps us reach more learners like you. And let us know in the comments, complete this sentence for us. The hardest part about finding time for English is just one word or a short phrase. We read every single one.
Seriously, we do. Okay, so Liam, I have to be honest. I am the queen of saying I'll study English later. And later usually means never.
I feel attacked. I'm the king of over-planning. I'll have this perfect Sunday morning schedule, 8 to 9, grammar review, 9 to 10, reading a news article, and then I sleep through all of it. My weekend plans are a fantasy novel.
Yes, that's it. The fantasy novel schedule. And the guilt that comes with it, right? You feel like, oh, I failed. I'm not disciplined. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is the plan itself? What if trying to carve out a 2-hour sacred block of study time is the absolute worst strategy for a busy adult?
Whoa, that's a big statement. But I think you're onto something. We tend to think of studying as this formal, sit down at a desk, textbook open event. But language isn't learned only there. It's learned in the moments between.
Yes, which brings us to our first big mindset shifting point. We need to redefine what counts as English practice. It's not just about the textbook. It's about exposure and engagement. So, sub-point number 1, micro habits over marathon sessions.
I love this. So instead of, I must study for 2 hours on Sunday, it's, I will listen to one English podcast episode during my commute. Or, I will read the headlines on the BBC app while I drink my morning coffee. Little bites.
Exactly. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. The key is consistency, not duration. Your brain actually absorbs language better in shorter, frequent bursts. It's called spaced repetition, but we don't need the jargon. It's just watering a plant a little every day instead of drowning it once a week.
And this is where people get stuck. They think, 5 minutes? What can I possibly learn in 5 minutes? But think about it. In 5 minutes, you can learn and review 5-10 new vocabulary words if you're focused. You can listen to a short story and understand the gist. You can do one grammar exercise. It adds up to over an hour a week just from tiny moments.
And it removes the barrier of I don't have time. You do have time. You have 5 minutes. We all scroll Instagram or check news for 5 minutes. Replace one of those tiny scrolls with an English touchpoint. My personal micro habit, I put my phone's language setting to English for 1 hour every evening. Just for 1 hour. My phone becomes my immersion tool. I see settings instead of adjusties, notifications instead of notificationes. It's constant, not.
That's brilliant. I do something similar with my music. I have an English study playlist, but I just add songs I like in English to my regular playlist. So when I'm cooking or cleaning, I'm hearing natural, colloquial English, not just textbook dialogues. I'm not actively studying, but I'm absorbing rhythm and pronunciation.
Which is perfect because it leads to our second subpoint, strategic multitasking. Now hear me out. I know multitasking has a bad reputation because you're not fully focused on one thing, but for language learning, it can be gold. You pair a necessary, somewhat mindless task with English input.
Okay, give me a concrete example.
Commuting. If you drive, listen to an English podcast or audiobook. If you take public transport, read a short article or do flashcards. If you exercise at the gym, put on a YouTube video in English. You're using time you have to anyway to stack the deck in your favor. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present with the language.
I used to feel so guilty about this. I'd be on the treadmill listening to a podcast, and I'd think, I'm not really learning because I'm also running. But the truth is, I was retaining more than I thought because I was relaxed. The pressure was off. I was absorbing.
And that's key. The pressure is the enemy. Which brings us to the flip side, knowing when not to multitask. There's a time for deep, focused work. For me, that's writing practice or learning a complex grammar point. That needs my full brain. But for listening practice or vocabulary review, multitasking is my friend.
Right, so you have to be honest with yourself about what the task requires. So we have micro habits and strategic multitasking. What's next?
Leverage your existing routines. This is huge. Don't add English to your day. Weave it into what you already do. Your morning coffee routine? Check the weather in English on your phone. Your lunch break? Watch a 10-minute vlog about something you love cooking, gaming, football in English. Your evening walk? Listen to a news summary.
I did this with my grocery shopping. I used to write my list in Spanish. Now I force myself to write it in English. Bread, milk, eggs. It's silly, but it's practical vocabulary I actually use. And I've learned words for things I never even knew I bought, like zucchini versus courgette. It's fascinating.
Ras, that's amazing. And it connects to our next point, which is about the 80/20 rule for vocabulary. You probably use about 20% of your total vocabulary 80% of the time in your native language. So in English, focus on that 20% first, the high-frequency words. Don't get bogged down learning the word for archipelago if you're not a geography buff. Learn the words for your job, your hobbies, your daily life. That's the vocabulary that will watch that.
So, for example, if you work in marketing, learn the English terms for campaign, target audience, raw. If you love gardening, learn prune, perennial, compost. Make your learning relevant.
Exactly. It's efficient and it feels useful immediately, which helps with motivation.
Chuckles, motivism, I like it.
It's a word now. Okay, moving on. So we've talked about how to fit it in. But what about when it all feels like too much? When you're just drained? That's our fourth crucial subpoint, burnout prevention and the guilt-free day. You must give yourself permission to have a day with zero English. Not because you're failing, but because you're being strategic. Your brain needs downtime to consolidate all that input you've been flooding it with.
This is a tough one for me. I'm a check-the-box kind of person. If I don't do my study, I feel like I've undone a week's work. But Emma, you're right. The guilt is counterproductive. It makes you associate English with stress, and we want English to be a tool of joy and connection, not a punishment.
Yes, so schedule your guilt-free days. Literally put in your calendar, no English today, and when you have one, enjoy it. Don't peek at your app. Don't feel bad. Trust that the work you did the day before is still processing. This is part of the system, not a failure of it.
And, on the flip side, you also need to schedule your high-focus days. Maybe that's one Saturday morning a month where you do a 2-hour deep dive on a tricky grammar topic you've been avoiding. But then, the rest of the month is micro-habits and weaving. Balance. It's in the name of the episode.
Less. It is. Which leads us to our fifth point, tools and the tech trap. There are a million apps and tools. Don't try to use them all. Pick one or two that genuinely fit your micro-habit strategy. For example, I love Anki for spaced repetition flashcards because I can do 10 cards while waiting for my coffee to brew. Liam, what's your go-to?
I'm a podcast junkie. I have my staple podcasts for different moods, a slower one for when I'm tired, a faster one for when I'm energetic, and I use a simple notebook, physical, for writing down words or phrases I hear that I love. There's a tactile memory there for me, but the key is the tool serves the habit, not the other way around. Don't spend an hour researching the perfect app. That's procrastination.
The tech trap. Yes. You can fall into a hole of watching reviews of learning apps instead of learning. So set a limit. I will spend 20 minutes finding one listening resource, and that's it for the month. Now, our sixth point is something we hinted at: tracking and celebrating tiny wins. How do you know you're progressing if you don't have a test every week? You have to notice the little things.
Like what?
Like you understood a whole sentence in a movie without subtitles, or you used a new phrasal verb correctly in an email, or you didn't have to translate a word in your head when you ordered coffee. That's huge. That's fluency in action. Keep a win log, a tiny note on your phone. July 12th knew the word for stapler without thinking. It sounds silly, but it builds a body of evidence that you are moving forward. It fights the feeling of being static.
I love that. It makes the progress visible. Because language learning is so invisible most of the time. There's no muscle you can flex in the mirror. You have to create your own feedback loop.
And finally, our seventh and maybe most important subpoint, the energy audit. This isn't about time, it's about energy. When are you actually capable of engaging with English? Are you a morning person? Do your best complex listening at 6 a.m.? Probably not. I am a zombie until 10 a.m. My English time is 4 p.m. when I have a little energy bump. My deep reading is at 8 p.m. Know your energy rhythms and match your English activity to them. Don't try to act out what the kids talk.
That is so practical. I never thought of it like that. I just thought I need to study at night because that's when I have free time. But I'm a zombie at night. No wonder I hate it. I need to move my active practice to the morning when my brain is fresh and leave the passive wind-down stuff for the evening. That's a game changer.
See? We're figuring this out together. So, to recap our 7 subpoints quickly: 1. Micro habits over marathons. 2. Strategic multitasking. 3. Leverage existing routines. 4. The 80/20 rule for vocab. 5. Burnout prevention and guilt-free days. 6. Use tools wisely and avoid the tech trap. 7. The energy audit. Phew.
It was, and we barely scratched the surface of each. But I think the through line is, be kind to your future self, the you who is tired after work. Set that future you up for success with tiny, easy, no-brainer habits. Don't make your future you fight a mountain.
Absolutely. Okay, I think it's time for our word tour. We use so many good phrases in these deep dives, and we want to pull a few out for you to really own. We're going to do a bit more this week. Let's look at 10. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hit us with the first one.
First word, integrate. It's a verb. It means to combine one thing with another so they become a part of a whole. You're not adding English on top of your life. You're integrating it into your life. Example 1. I'm trying to integrate English listening into my daily commute. Example 2. The best apps integrate reading and listening practice.
Repeat, integrate.
Next, microhabit. This is a compound noun, a very small routine behavior. It's the tiny version of a habit. Example, checking one news headline in English is a perfect microhabit. Example 2. My microhabit is learning one new word while my breakfast toast cooks.
Repeat, microhabit.
Third, burnout. A noun, state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by long-term stress. It's what happens when you push too hard for too long without rest. Example, after months of late-night study sessions, She was experiencing burnout. Example 2. Preventing burnout is crucial for sustainable learning.
Repeat, burnout.
Fourth, consistency. Noun. The quality of being consistent, doing something the same way over time, reliably. It's more important than intensity for language learning. Example: 10 minutes a day with consistency will beat 3 hours once a month. Example 2. His consistency in listening to podcasts is really paying off.
Repeat, consistency.
Fifth, weave. Verb, to interlace threads together. Here, it means to combine elements skillfully so they form a connected whole. Weave English into your existing routines. Example 2. She weaves vocabulary practice into her cooking shows.
Repeat, weave.
6. Leverage. Verb, to use something to maximum advantage. You're not just using your commute, you're leveraging it. Example: how can you leverage your lunch break for language learning? Example 2. Smart learners leverage technology but don't become dependent on it.
Repeat, leverage.
7th, spaced repetition. This is a 2-word noun phrase. It's a learning technique where you review information at increasing intervals to move it into long-term memory. It's the science behind flashcards. Example: apps like Anki use spaced repetition algorithms. Example 2. Reviewing vocabulary with spaced repetition is highly effective.
Whoa, that's a phrase. Repeat, spaced repetition.
8th, viscerally. Adverb, in a way that is felt deeply and instinctively, not just intellectually. I said I felt something viscerally. It means it hit me in my gut, in my body. Example: I viscerally remember the anxiety of my first English presentation. Example 2. The music gave me a viscerally happy feeling.
Repeat, viscerally.
9th, gist. Noun, the essential part of something, the main idea without all the details. You don't need to understand every word to get the gist. Example: even if you miss some words, you can usually get the gist of a conversation. Example 2. The article's gist was that balance is possible.
Repeat, gist.
And our 10th, feedback loop, a 2-word noun. A system where the output of a process is circled back as input, creating a cycle of improvement. Your win log creates a positive feedback loop. Example: seeing small progress creates a motivational feedback loop. Example 2. A good teacher provides a helpful feedback loop for your mistakes.
Wow, 10 great ones. Integrate, microhabit, burnout, consistency, weave, leverage, spaced repetition, viscerally, gist, feedback loop. Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Anytime. So we've had a deep chat. We've talked mindset. We've talked strategies. We've got our vocabulary. What's the one tiny piece of advice you'd leave someone with today?
Just one? Okay. I'd say tomorrow, identify one existing 5-minute slot in your day. Literally, your morning coffee brew time, your lunch break first 5 minutes, your commute if you're not driving, and in that slot, do one single small English thing. That's it. Don't plan more. Just one slot, one thing. Build from there. The goal is to create a chain of successes, one tiny link at a time.
I love that. And my add-on to that is, after you do that one tiny thing, notice how it felt. Don't judge it. Just notice. And then be kind to yourself. You just integrated English into your life on your own terms. That's a massive win. Remember, this is a marathon where every step counts, even the tiny invisible ones.
Perfect. Thank you all for listening. We are so grateful you spend this time with us. Remember, be patient with your progress. You are learning a monumental skill. You are doing a great job. We'll be back next week with more real talk for your English journey. Until then, take care.
Bye.